Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Nigel's Modelling Bench. Nigel here with you, and this is now part 19 and we're getting very near the end now of this Vulcan build. A few people think it's sort of dragging on a bit. Well, the thing is, you get there's two ends of the scale. If you want to see one of these things built in 32 minutes, go and watch Greg's models. He's done one. He's done one video, one build, that's it. Okay, it's done in a white scheme, and he's added some different armament. I can't remember the name of it now. Skybolt, I think. But anyway, people like to watch my channel because they like to see the detail. They like to see where I go wrong, everything I do. And so the videos tend to go on a bit. So that's what happens. Now, if you don't like the format, that's absolutely fine. You can fast forward or whatever. But, you know, the complaining is not going to get you anywhere. I'm sorry, but I'm going to carry on doing the videos the way I do them. This is what people like to see. So what we're going to do now is correct these areas. If you remember where I messed up, here. So I'm going to go round. I've got an area down here. I think I might have to go in with some green or just mask it back and go in with grey. We shall see. But basically what I'm going to do now is, with the same materials as I used originally, I am going to remask, but this time mask the green and spray the grey. So I'm going to go around here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I haven't got the light in the right place, I'm sorry. There we go. So I'm going to mask around here on the edge of the green. In fact, what I'll do is I'll start, this is difficult to show you guys because I'm in my own shadow. I'll start off of the green and then feather onto it, and that way we won't get a stepped edge. So I can come around here, Oh, my nails are filthy, I'm sorry. I've been out spraying the bulkhead of the Land Rover, the Keswick green, and I managed to get some of the 2-pack in my nail, which is not good. So I'm going to try and do this so you can see what I'm doing, but I may have to just turn the camera off and do it because I can't sit this far back from it and see what I'm doing, because it needs to be very precise on the edge. So we'll go around there, on the edge there, and then we'll feather it out, because it's only that area there I want to repair, isn't it, I think? Or was there something back here as well? Yes, there is. There's a mark down there. So we'll go around there, and then we'll feather it out there. Yeah, and I've got some black there as well, haven't I? So I want to get that covered as well. So we'll go around here, we'll stay with the green edge and then feather it out. And when I say feather it out, what I mean is run out onto the grey, and then when I spray the grey on it, we won't get a sharp edge between the green and the grey. This is extremely difficult to do on camera. So I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to get the masking done, and then I'll come back and probably show you me spraying it. Okay, so we've got the areas masked up, and I started doing a bit of painting, then realised I said I was going to show you the painting. So for the beginners, got a mix in here of XF83. This is the colour I originally used, the medium sea grey, and basically Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners. Quite a thin mix because we we don't want to build up, we just want to just sort of shade it in really. So as you can see, like this scratch on the wing here that you can see, maybe you can't see it, isn't that weird? The camera's not really picking it up. There's a scratch on the wing just here on the elevon. But I just come along and just with the grey paint, just cover that scratch up. Do the same here. There's a couple of scratches here. And doing this all aids the blotchiness effect, if you remember. And then where we've got the fading here, where it's got under the tape, what I'm going to do is just make sure the tape's down, push the tape down again, and then just very gently come in with the airbrush. Stay nice and close because you don't want the paint to be wandering everywhere. So just very gently, just blow the grey in, just like so. It's lifted again now already, look, so I've probably got the same problem again. I think we'll just have to leave it. So here we've got the problem again with it lifting. Just blow that in there, and then here again, same thing. Just blow that in there, here again. Got a scratch there as well, we've got some blow by there. Okay, that's that one done. And then here on the spine, here and here, you can see we've got those areas there where it's gone under, so again spraying away from the tape. Just blow that in and then turn it around, again away from the tape. Just blow that in. Alright, same here, away from the tape, just blow that in. I'm off camera, sorry guys. And then here, again I kept finding places while I was going around. Bit of a fade there, bit of a fade there. Okay, that's basically all we're going to do is just do that. The tape here is just to protect the paint on the canopy when it's upside down. So a couple of scratches there, we'll cover them up. There we go, got a scratch there as well. Remember, we've got this blotchy paint anyway, so we're not worried about any blotchy bits where we've touched up, because that's what we want it blotchy. Okay, so I think that's it. I think we're done. So we've done all the areas. I think I've probably missed something. I don't know why I've masked all this up here. Oh, we've got some there that I can see on the in here. Okay, so we can unmask that now, see how it looks, and then we can come back to it. Need to do any more touch-up, we will. Okay, so a little while later now, that's done. I've now masked up, ready to do the fin capping, and also I've masked up, ready to do the black nose. Now I've measured this, I reckon it's about 8mm behind this scribe line. So what I did was got loads of pieces of 8mm wide tape, put them around there, and then put the flexible tape round, and then masked everything else around it. The top of the line is on the panel line, so that's all quite lucky. So I've got some XF85 in the airbrush with Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners. Just check the flow, and then we'll get this painted. So we'll do the, I can't remember what it's called now, somebody did tell me, I call it the nipple. Somebody said it's the ECM fairing or something. So we'll just get this done now, again spraying away from the tape if we can. Okay, so we're coming now on that angle. It's becoming quite wieldy, this model. Masking this nose has been a nightmare because everything is in the way. So you're putting the paint on nice and lightly, keeping it dry so it doesn't creep under the tape. If you get it wet next to the tape, it'll capillary under the slightest gap it can find, just like your glue capillaries along your fuselage joints. This is all going to be getting a gloss coat and a flat coat anyway, so finish isn't so much of an issue. It's more about getting the colour all even. We want this even because this wouldn't have been blotchy, this area. There we go. And now do the fin capping. Again, keeping the airbrush. You can see I'm keeping the airbrush like facing away from the wings, so the overspray doesn't go over the wing. Just make sure we've got a nice covering on there, and then turn it over again. Now go the opposite way, spray that way so the overspray doesn't go over the wing. Got a little bit wet there next to the tape. I hope it hasn't crept under, because otherwise I'll be spraying green again. And there we go. I'm just going to give the nose another quick going over, because you can see we're rubbing it off when we put it down. And there we go. So we've got to be careful with this model, because now when I turn it over and put it down, it's going to be rubbing paint off of here. When I put it down this way, it's going to try and rub paint off the nose, so we need to be a little bit careful. So we'll get the airbrush cleaned out, and then we'll get this unmasked and we'll see how she looks. Right, there we go, all unmasked. So there's the tail fin, all looking lovely. And then we've got the nose. That really does set it off now. It makes it like a Vulcan, doesn't it, with the nose in the black. Okay, so now it needs to get a clear coat. This clear coat on the bottom is weird. I took the masking tape off and it was all fine. And it feels dry, but if you hold it, if you put your finger on it and hold it, hear that? It's weird. If I just do that, look, it's absolutely fine. But if I push down on it, if I hold it, it becomes sticky. It's like the heat of my finger is remelting it. So I'm going to have to seal it in, because it's going to be a nightmare putting decals down on that, because you get it down, it's just going to bite straight away. So I think I'm going to try some aqua gloss over it and see if that gets rid of it. But the whole thing needs a gloss coat for decals and all the stencils and everything. So I'm just going to give the whole thing a gloss coat. I won't do that on film, because you've all seen that before, and I've already had some comments about people, about being boring. So never mind. So what I'm going to do is get this all clear coated. I'll do the top first, and then I'll come back with some more. So a few seconds for you, probably another day for me. Okay, so this has had about 18 hours to dry, and I've also done the underside with the what's it called, the gloss varnish, aqua gloss. And basically I haven't rubbed the bottom down yet, but what I do once it's gone on, if you get any dry areas where you get this turbulence in the varnish or whatever, just go on with something like a 3000 grit sander, something like a 3000 grit Infini sanding stick. They're absolutely brilliant, and you can just wet the end of it, and if you've got any dust or anything, just sand it out like that. Just easy as that, just to get rid of any little lumps and bumps. And if you've got any rough areas that you think it's going to give you silvering, just sand it out. I mean, it goes down quite thick. You have to put it on quite thick to make it work. But you can just, you can see, I don't know if you can see it there. There's a little fleck of something in the paint. So just wet the end of the sanding stick and just sand it away. And it's 3000 grit. It's not gonna go through. You can just take off the top of that lump, and if the 3000 doesn't work, just get the 2000, and there we go, it's gone. And you've got a nice smooth surface now for the decal to go on. Of course the finish doesn't matter, because we're going to go over it with the coat anyway. This is just to seal the paint in and to give the decal something to go down onto. So there we go. And also you can see now that we've got the gloss on there, look, there's a bloody great sink mark right across there, see it? And you can see it now really big time on the ailerons. You can see the sink marks across them. You can see the moulding marks in the elevons. We've got a sink over here. There's some sinks down the spine. So yeah, but once it's got a matte varnish on, you're not going to see any of this. The worst ones were here and here, and I've dealt with all that, as you know, through the build. So she's looking good. I think she's looking all right. I got that lovely blotchy look on the underside as well, which I really like. That sort of used and worn look without going the pre-shading route. So now what we need to do is look at decals. So if you're building this kit out of the box, okay, you're well catered for. Very well catered for, because you have a beautiful decal set. These were the instrument panel decals here. And across the bottom here we had the rings for the bombs, which have been cut off. So you've got this is the camouflage and white scheme, okay, that comes with the box, in the box. So that's this one here. Okay, so that's what's that one? XH594. Okay, so that's this one, and then you've got the low-vis one here, which is the white one. It's really unusual because they've got the white one as a normal bomber, and they've got the camouflage one as the blue steel. And I thought it would have been the other way around, but hey, never mind. So you got these here for this one. So this is how they appeared in 1963, not how it appears today. Okay, so be careful when you look at these museum pieces. They get changed and chopped about. I mean, if the fin cap got damaged on the original aircraft, they would have replaced it with a later one, which I think they've actually done. So basically, yeah, we're looking at those. But as we know, I'm not doing either of those schemes. I'm going for I'm going for this set here. This is the Air Decal set, sheet 7215 camouflage Vulcans. Now, I've never used these decals before, so I don't know what they're like. But something I've noticed when you look at the stenciling. Okay, the first thing I noticed when you look at this was the difference in colour. Look at the difference in colour in those roundels. You can see the Airfix is a much sort of paler blue, and this is I think this is more correct. I'm not sure about that accuracy of that one. Maybe a little too purple. I'm not sure, but it's cartograph, so you know, who knows. The fin flash is the same. You got that sort of bright blue rather than the darker blue. So I don't know. You can see it here as well with those. You can see it on those, the difference in colour. I'm going to be using these here because I'm putting the Kiwi in the middle, okay, because I'm doing XH562. So that was the first thing I noticed. But then when looking at the stenciling, I've noticed that all the stenciling on here, this one's all red because it's obviously on a white background, but a lot of this one is blue. And if you look at it, it's very, very faint. It's a very, very pale blue. Whereas these are a very dark blue. Okay, so I found some pictures, and looking at this decal here, which is 49, this one here, which is the entrance, this goes underneath the belly where the entrance hatch is, and if you look at on here, this one here, you can see it's nothing like as defined. It's slightly lighter and nothing like as defined. So I've decided I'm going to go with these, even if they're inaccurate. It's what's coming with this set, which is depicting XH562, but also it's just going to stand out more, and I love stencils. Plus I've never used these decals. And another nice thing about this set, you will notice that you get lots and lots of roundels. So basically I can use one of these and those two and those two Kiwis to make 562. I could use that one and those two to make 594 because I've got enough. Okay, I've got enough fin flashes and everything. So I could also do XH568, is it? XH558 with this one, because I've got those there, and I've got those fin flashes. Plus you've got all these other ones. So, and you also get all these numbers here, and you also get two sets of stencils. So you could actually do two full aircraft from this one set easily. So well worth having. I don't know how old it is now. I don't remember when I bought it, but it was £8 when I bought it. So I probably bought it back in, I don't know, 2015 or something. But it's probably about £10.99 now. But bargain, really worth having. So I'm going to be using those decals and following this decal guide. Okay. So I've got all these numbers here. So it's pretty much the same as the Airfix stenciling guide. Okay, but the trouble is, you see, I don't know where I am, because this one is version B, which is the bomber, which mine is, but it's all white. This one here is version A, which is blue steel, which I'm not, but it's camouflaged, which I am. So I'm going to stick with these decals I've got here, and I'm going to use them. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut one out and put it on with some micro set and sol and see how it reacts. And I'm going to do one of the wing flashes because obviously, as you can see, I've got two of them. It's a large decal, and we'll see how it goes down, and I can just put it down now and then leave it for a little while. So what I'm going to do is grab my decaling box over here. Okay, I've used this before. This is the premium hobby stuff you've seen when I did the bombs. So get the top off the set bottle. Now, because this has got aqua gloss on it, you may see this start to turn white when I put this on. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. When it dries back, it disappears. But it does tend to turn it white. So I'm going to cut this wing flash out here. And also another thing to look at with aftermarket decals, always do this. Look at them first. I'm going to try and catch this in the light so you can see it. You can see that these decals are all separate. They've got separate carrier film around each one. Okay? Always check for that, because some aftermarket decals are printed as one sheet. So in other words, if I put this in a bowl of water, all of these would float off as individual decals. Some sheets would just float off as one. That's how all model kits used to be. They always used to be in one. So you have to then go around and carefully cut closely around every single decal. But this one is good because we haven't got that problem. But with aftermarket decals, it's always worth checking. And also with some aftermarket decals, look at some reviews, read the instructions. Sometimes they require you to put a varnish on them before you use them. But these look, they're shiny, so I know they've got a varnish on them. We can see separate carrier film. I know they're good. Okay, so brilliant. So I'm going to grab some water. This is my usual style. I'm just going to put some water down here on the side of the bench. Okay, and I don't think you can see that, can you? Let me bring this over. Okay, I've got a puddle of water, and I'm just going to stick this in there. And straight away it'll start to curl up. A lot of people put them face down. I don't like to do that in case it sticks to the bench. So I can put the top back on there. And then I can get this is a brush which is dedicated to set and sol. Don't use another brush, because if you've got chemicals on there, it may ruin your decals, ruin your day anyway. So I'm going to get this guide here, and I'm looking at where this wing flash goes, and as you can see, they've got up against this panel line here and just crossing these two lines here, so it's going to be sort of in this area here. Okay, so I'm going to brush some micro set, which is the blue bottle, on here. Okay, as I say, you might see it start to turn white, and I'm going to pick up the decal, and it's already ready to go. So with this one, because it's so big, we can use our fingers, but normally we'd be using tweezers and a brush. And then again, checking on the plan where it's going to go. It's going to go over these two lines here and up against that line there. So I'm going to position the decal, put it down, and just slide the paper out from underneath, and that is it. Okay, and then what I can do is get a cotton bud. You can use these come from Premium Hobbies. These are for squatting down your decals, just like this. You can move this around. You can just squeegee out the decal using this, or you can do it with the end here. Or if you don't have one of those, feel safer doing it with a cotton bud, just do it with a cotton bud. And what I'm doing is I'm not dragging it, I'm rolling it, so I'm not actually putting any dragging force on the decal at all. I'm just rolling it down. Okay, and then once it's down, we know it's good. We can come over with a damp cloth, just get a bit of cloth, just dampen it, paper towel, and just push the decal down. And if you want to, you can use warm water. Personally, I don't bother. Okay, so now we can rub it down and make sure it's all down. And then we take some more micro set and just brush it over the top. And as you can see, surface tension is just driving it all away. That's okay. And you can see the edges are all wrinkling up. That's what we want to see. That means it's working and it's biting in. Okay. Now, as I say, I'm doing this one first as an experiment, because if these decals don't like set and sol, then I know all about it. So that's why I'm doing it this way. And you can see how it nicely fits in that curvature there as well. So that's gone down like that. Don't want to play with it too much, just let that sit. Okay, so put the top back on the micro set, and then I'm going to get my micro sol. And just brush micro sol over the top. And as you can see, this isn't so bad with the surface tension. What I'm expecting to see now is it all wrinkle up. Really well. I'm going to have to get a new brush for doing this, because this brush isn't big enough. It's okay for little stencils and stuff, but it's no good for the bigger stuff like this. Okay, and just leave it. Do not touch it. Okay, and we can see on there that the decal is kind of sat on the surface. The other panel lines disappear. Okay, now when this all works and it's all pulled down, it should pull it down tight into those panel lines, and that's what we want, because otherwise what happens, this is why we decal before we weather. if it doesn't pull down in the panel lines, when you put a wash on, your panel lines will end at the edge of the decal and it will look like a sticker. So we want it to go down. That is why I've done this one first, because if it doesn't go down, then I know I need to use hot water or just try something different. But I want to try and avoid using hot water if I can, because the trouble is, you get a bowl of hot water, within 10 minutes it's cold anyway. So what's the point? You can get these coffee warmers that you plug in to keep the water warm and everything. But I think it only really matters with big decals that have to go around compound curves. Like if we had a big sort of shark's mouth going around here or something, then it needs its compound curves, it needs to shrink in both ways. Then I think heating it up helps. But I'm looking at that now and it's looking like it's not going down into those panel lines at all. But we shall see when it dries out, we'll see what it's done. But it looks like it's not going down at all, so not good. I'll put some more on. I can see the edges all wrinkling up, so it probably is doing something. I'm just going to leave that now to dry out, do its thing, and then we'll go from there. It looks like it's starting to go into a panel line down here now. But, that's why I've done this one now, so I'm going to leave that for about an hour and then come back and see what it looks like. Hello then guys, right, here we are back. This is like, I don't know, 10-12 hours later. So these decals, they're made by this company here called Decal, whatever, if you're American or English. They are very, very tough. So I would say for the beginner who's getting into aftermarket decals, these would be very good for you to practice with, because they are like bulletproof. They're not that thick, but they're very, very tough. And I've had to try, I've tried this one, the decal set from MIG. I've tried the Mr. Hobby Mark Softer Neo. I've tried Microset, Microsol, and that's about it. I haven't tried anything else. So I haven't got anything stronger, but the thing is with this, you don't need anything stronger. What I've discovered, if you read the instructions on the Microset, now I've always thought these two work as a pair, okay? But it looks like when you read the instructions on the Microset, you don't actually need the sole per se, because what they're saying is you basically put the decal down on top of this, brush some more, let it dry, and then push it down with a damp cloth, and that's it. But they say with the Microsole, when you put the Microsole on, you mustn't touch it. These decals are so tough, you can put Microsole on there and then push them down with a damp cloth. It doesn't affect them at all. And then what I've done, I've come over with a scalpel and I've cut through all the panel lines to make the decal go into the panel lines. So you can see on there now that it's gone into the lines. You can see it's quite glossy. Okay, so what we can do then is we can sand it down if we want to, whatever. So I've done these roundels on the side as well, and I've done the same. I've cut through the panel line to make it go in. As you can see, it's so glossy you can already see it. But obviously I've got another decal going on top of there, the Kiwi, so we need to make sure that's gone in. So I've just put some more Microset on there and then brushed it down, put it down, just basically a wet paper towel, and just squeeze really hard and just push it in. And that should make it go into the panel lines. So this process is going to take quite a while. You can also see I've put the no walk lines over the air brakes. Now I don't know if you can catch this on the camera, but something you're going to spot here, if you look at this side, you can see the carrier film around the feet. Oh, and by the way, these instructions show you to put these lines with the feet, those step feet, actually on the air brakes. The drawings in the on target book have the feet on the outside of the air brakes. The Airfix instructions just have a line with the no step written on the air brakes. So I did some research, and it's hard to find two the same. Some are like this, some have got on the outside, some have got nothing, some have got no step on the outside, some have got no step on the inside. So I've done it the way the instructions tell me, so there we go. But you may notice on there, you can see we've got carrier film on there, okay? And that is where you run the risk of getting this silvering, is under the carrier film. Now, you can remove the carrier film. If you look at this side, You can see I've got no carrier film on there. Okay, you can see a little bit around the edges, but I've got to go over it again. Now, this is something you can do, alright, but I take absolutely no responsibility whatsoever if you do this and you mess your model up. Now, the best way to do this is to take a scrap wing or something like this and have it painted and lacquered the same as you've used on here. So, same paint, same lacquer, okay, same sort of time frame, and then get a scrap decal or a decal that you're not going to use from your set, from the actual sheet, not from another kit, not from another decal set, from the actual sheet you're using, okay? Because it doesn't matter, if it worked for you on Revell yesterday, it won't necessarily work for you on Revell today. And what we're going to do is remove the carrier film, and you can basically rub over and remove it. Now, you can see here I've done some tests previously. These, I believe, are Hobby Boss decals, and they've been okay. Okay, this one here, I think was Meng, and you can see it's rubbed through. Okay, this here is Revell, and you can see there that basically it's taken all the writing off because the actual artwork is printed on top of the carrier film. So that's what you've got to be careful of. Okay, so that's why you need to do this on a sample from the actual sheet you are using. Okay, because you'll find that one Revell kit will be okay and another one won't. All right, so what I'm going to do is I will show you what I do. This is basically odourless thinners. You can use the ordinary humble enamel thinners, but I find it to be a little hot, a little harsh. So it's better to be gentle. So what you do is you just take a drop. You don't need very much. You don't really want to get it soaking wet. And then we take a cotton bud. Always use a new cotton bud. Don't ever. I've got 2 cotton buds here on the bench. I'm going to get rid of them. You don't know what's been on them. If you used it in a bit of super glue, you got that and you've wrecked your decal. So it's not worth risking you reusing cotton buds. So I'm going to take this carrier film off of this walkway here. I'm not going to touch this one because I've just put some more microsol on it and it's going to be a bit soft. So I'm just going to dampen the cotton bud, not have it soaking wet, and then just basically very lightly wet the decal and rub, and you should see the carrier film will start to soften and just rub away, almost like I don't know what. It'll just come away. Okay, so just get a bit more on there. As I say, this is Aqua Gloss on top of Tamiya paint thinned with Mr. Colour Leavening thinners, and it's not affecting it. If you start to see it rub through, if you start to see any colour on your cotton bud, stop, because that means it's taken either the paint or the colour out of the decal. So I don't know if you can see that, but this one here, try and get it in the light, you can see that the carrier film is softened and it's changed shape. I just keep rubbing until it disappears. Let's get a bit more on there. And if you get it in the light correct, you'll see it coming away. It's very difficult for me to show you because I need the light correct for me, which means the light isn't correct for you. But you can see now when you look in the light, there is no carrier film. And that is a good way to stop getting silver in, because if there is no carrier film, you can't get silver in. But as I say, this is a very, very risky process. And it is, I'm starting to see a little bit of colour on there now, so I'm going to stop. Because what might be happening now is I might be taking the ink off of the decal. But I can see I've still got carrier film on there which needs to go, so I've got to keep going. But there we are. Yeah, that one's definitely got some still on. And it's finding the sweet spot between not saturating it, but not rubbing it too hard. Obviously, if it's too dry and you rub it too hard, you could take the whole thing off. Okay, so there you go. You can see now There's no carrier film, it's just the actual mark of the footprint. Alright, so that's another little tip for you to try, but as I say, be very, very careful. This one's been really stubborn. And if you do take a bit of the colour away, it doesn't matter, because basically at the end of the day it's all going to be worn and weathered anyway, so it's actually, you can get quite a nice effect with it. Just rub and rub and rub and rub and rub. Get rid of all that shiny stuff. Okay, so like I say, this one here, I think that's a main decal. You can see started to rub through and the paint started to come through and it sort of looks sun bleached and blistered. It's kind of good, yeah. So there we go. So I'll carry on now and just keep putting decals on. And there we go. About 3 hours later, all the decals are on. She's finally got an identity, XH562. So I've got the fins on there. We've got all the little stencils and everything everywhere in the cockpit. All of them are on, all done. And then underneath we've got all the stencils on the bottom, all on the wings, and around the entrance and everything. So yeah, very, very pleased with how that's come out. Got the kiwi there on the side. So you see the kiwi there. Got zapped by the Royal New Zealand Air Force while the aircraft's crew were out visiting somewhere for the day. So that's why I decided this one, because it's different. It's just different round, isn't it? So there we are. These decals are, the small ones, they go down beautifully. I mean, if you look at this one here, as you can see, there's just no carrier film visible at all. It's really, really nice. So I'm going to let these go off now for a day, and then I'll go around with my enamel thinners and take carrier film off wherever I feel I need to, and then we'll get it sealed up, and then we can start doing some weathering. So we'll call that a day for this one, because obviously I need to get the videos out, and it's a very, very long process now, because it's sort of 3 hours decaling, then leave it a day to dry, and then get the gloss coat, or do the removal, then get the gloss coat on, and it's, you know, one half an hour video is going to take like 3 or 4 days to make. So I'm going to get this one out now, and I'll see you all soon for part 20, and I think that will be it. But basically part 20 will be the weathering, really. I need to get the exhaust done as well. I haven't done those yet, because basically if we're going to use metallizers, I don't want to be masking on metallizers, because they don't like being masked, and then with the clear coats and everything on metallizers, it ruins the effect. So basically they will be done just before the weathering. When we're finished with all our clear coats and everything, they'll be done then just before the weathering. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon for part 20. Well, I don't know how soon it'll be, but I will see you soon for part 20. Bye for now.